Welcome to Must University's Introduction to Computing class. My name is Brian Kelly, and we will be looking at the first topic, browser fundamentals, specifically understanding the internet browser and understanding the browser layout. So let's get started. I'm running a Macintosh computer. I've got Mountain Lion installed. So at the bottom of my taskbar, you'll notice that I've got Safari and Google Chrome installed. If you happen to be running a PC, you will have Internet Explorer pre-installed as your browser. As mentioned in the readings, there's other options for browser, but I've chosen to show these two browsers for you, which will give you a good demonstration on what it's like to browse the internet. So I will left click here on Safari, and I will also left click here on Google Chrome, and it will launch both of them. As mentioned in the reading, the browser is essentially the fire from the dragon. So it allows us to really view the web as it is intended. So one of the great things about browsing the web is it opens up an enormous possibility for you. You can use it to play games online if you would like to. You can use it to view and stream movies or television shows, or you can simply use it to read or organize articles online for you to read a little bit later. So you've got a variety of different options when it comes to browsing the web. And what the browser does for you is really allows you to control that experience. So you can do things like store your favorite websites inside of a browser. You can also open multiple windows or pages within inside of a browser. So you can do some research online while adding it maybe to an online document such as Google Chrome. So you've got a number of different tools that you have in your browsers and a number of different just amazing, incredible things that you can do within the browser itself. Now, mentioned in the readings that essentially the browser is kind of harnessing this language, this very complex, difficult language that we have called HTML, currently running HTML5, and we also have a styling language referred to as CSS. Now, what that is really the language underneath the hood, shall we say, that's allowing all of this to run. Now, if we look over here to the right-hand side, we're seeing an example of the HTML language. So it's essentially it's a markup language. So it's lines of code explaining to the browser how to display the web page, the graphics, how to lay out the graphics, through CSS and so on and so forth. So it's very important that we kind of understand that's going on beneath, under the hood, and the browser is what's interpreting that information. So it's incredible in its interpretation, and some browsers interpret it a little bit differently. Some browsers are a little bit more on the forefront in terms of that interpretation, so more advanced languages that we're seeing now, such as HTML5, in CSS3, browsers that are a little bit more current in respect, say Google Chrome, can handle those languages more than other browsers like Internet Explorer. So we're going to look at both. We're really going to look at one of the ones on top of the line here, Google Chrome, very slim, very fast browser, as we'll see on the right-hand side. And we'll look at Safari on the left-hand side. Now, what you will notice between the two, also with Internet Explorer and Firefox, is they look very similar. They've gotten much slimmer now in the days, so you have a top half section here that basically holds your the tools that you use, and then the bottom half is basically the web, the real estate of the web. So some people prefer a little slimmer browser, a little bit more room to work. So they might elect to use something like Google Chrome on the right-hand side, or on the left, Safari, which gives them a little bit more tools inside of the Apple universe to make the browser experience a little bit more pleasant and easier to use and share certain items. So it's really a matter of choice, but there are some benefits to each and every browser as you'll explore as you install one browser and use it for yourself. So we're going to take a look at really the essentials of browsing the web and some of the fundamentals of the interface here. So as you can see with both of them, up at or near the top on the right-hand side, we've got tabs open. And we've got a blog tab, we AskMrKelly.com, my blog, and then we have CNN.com, and we have a source page for that. On the left-hand side in Safari, we have the two same main web pages, and we also have a column that we've loaded up. These are essentially tabs that just allow us to navigate between several web pages within inside of the same window. And we also see beneath that in Google Chrome, and also here at the top for Safari, we basically see the address bar. And that's the heart of the web browsing experience, because as you notice, as we come over here to the address bar and we left click inside that address bar, on either one it will automatically highlight the address for us. Now our home page is set automatically to CNN.com, which is something we'll look at a little bit later on in the future, but it's set for CNN.com. So if we wanted to go to a particular site, in this case, all we would have to do is simply type it in. And since it's highlighted, whatever we type is automatically going to delete the current address in the browser. So it makes it very simple to navigate back and forth. So I'm just going to type in ESPN.com, and notice when I do type that, what happens is I've got an ability to do two things with this address bar. I can search, so I can run a Google search, but I can also search for a particular web address. So as I'm typing in ESPN, it's recognizing it as a Google search too, so it gives me some options there, and it also gives me some bookmark and some other options down there at the bottom. So I'm just going to type in ESPN.com, and I'm going to go ahead and click return, and it will bring me to the sports page here, ESPN.com. Home page is what we refer to it as. In some browsers, depending on your connection, what you have running on my machine, it's going to be a little bit slower than others. So I've got a little bit graphic heavy here for scores and some real-time information for the football scores here, and I've got a layout here. So that's just simply how you would access a page. I'm going to go back to CNN.com, click return or enter on my keyboard, go back to CNN.com. And what we have here inside of CNN is down at the bottom. I want you to take a look at that right now. And essentially what we have are our main web page, our home page for CNN.com, and we have a variety of different stories on CNN. So we have some links over here down at the bottom, and links are essentially hyperlinks for us. So anything that we see in blue here, marked in blue, that means that we can click on that particular link and it will navigate us to another web page within inside CNN.com. The greatest thing about that is if I roll over with my mouse here, now notice how my cursor changes from an arrow here to essentially a hand cursor. And that tells you that you have a hyperlink in play. Now the hyperlink means it's going to link to another section of that web page. So I'm going to come down here, say, maybe I'm searching news stories. I'm going to scroll down here, find something that find interesting. Maybe I want to read this opinion column here. So I'll just scroll over that, hover over that particular link, left click with my mouse, and wait just a couple of seconds, and that new page will populate. And once it populates it, I can basically scroll down here to the bottom of the page, or I can scroll up to the top, and I can start reading the bulk of this article here by Adam. And I can read, how mobile tech can influence our brain. And as we scroll down, I'll notice also a variety of other links here. And if I scroll down to the bottom, I'll notice some more links down here at the bottom as well, and near the top. Some of these are sponsored links. So this is a free site to go to. So CNN is selling some of that real estate on their web page to advertisers. But a bulk of this material that we see is all within CNN.com. And we see an ad here that's placed here for Honda. That's something you have to be aware of. And we see an ad here at the top. And those are basically encouraging you to click on there, apply traffic to their website, and jump to another link. So if I were to click on the ad here, it would jump me outside of CNN.com, now in Honda.com, and not in the web page that I started with. Now this does open it in a new tab, as we'll talk about a little bit later, but I'm going to jump back to CNN.com. Now CNN is it's a nicely designed site, so one of the things you'll notice here on our web page is we have the ability to really navigate within the site, within the web page itself, not utilizing any tools in the browser. So we can left click here on the home page, and that's going to bring us back to CNN.com. I could also navigate, say, to the entertainment section, navigate directly over there to entertainment, and I would have entertainment news, and notice that I've got cnn.com/showbiz, so I'm deeper into that site. Or click on world and so on and so forth, and go back to home page. And let's say I would select on another link here, First Lady discussing voter rights. There we go, and go back into that site. Now, CNN, as I mentioned, is pretty well designed. I can navigate through here, but we also have other options for navigation. If we look over here to the left-hand side of Safari, and on Google Chrome, it's on the left-hand side again, right next to the address bar, these two arrows, and they're arrows on both browsers. That allows you to go back to the previous page. So if I were to select previous page, I go back to CNN.com. Once I do that, the right arrow is highlighted, so I can go to the next page that I had located previously, and that goes back to the article on Michelle Obama. So I go back and forth within my web page. That's one way to navigate. Typically, if you've got a well-designed site, you're going to navigate within the website itself. So you're not necessarily going to use these particular options up here at the left. If you've got a good site like CNN, you can very easily navigate it by using the navigation buttons up here and the home button up here to kind of bring you wherever you want to. And one thing we will notice here too is we've got options beneath the address bar. We have entertainment, design tools, cooking, food, concerts, bills, so on and so forth. And over here to the right-hand side in Chrome, we see those same options. Those are actually represented by folders inside of Chrome. But what these are bookmarks. Bookmarks are something we'll talk about a little bit later, but that allows you to store sites of interest to you. So the great thing about these is as you navigate through the web, you're going to come across a variety of different sites that you're going to enjoy. You're going to want to go back on a regular basis. So what bookmarks allow you to do is store those sites into categories and basically access those sites at a later date. In a future topic, future video lecture, we're going to take a look at how to actually create those bookmarks, make them usable here. One of the advantages too of these bookmarks is they're syncable between multiple devices. So I can be in Google Chrome and I can log into my Google account and I would have access to all of my bookmarks non-dependent on what machine I am. So I can go on my work computer, have my bookmarks that I have at home. And I can add bookmarks within inside of that account and they'll show up at my home PC and my work PC. Much the same with Safari. Anything that you add can be accessed through your Macintosh, say at home, your Macintosh at work. And as you add and delete, that's automatically synced up. That's a fairly new option in more modern browsers that we have. Safari's a little different in because they have tabs too. They have Show iCloud tabs. So that's essentially an ability to not only sync your bookmarks, but also sync your open tabs. So that's something that we very well might see in future browsers such as Firefox and Google Chrome, kind of integrated more into the browser itself as we move along. So that's another option. Google Chrome has that loaded too, but kind of just in a little different fashion, shall we say. So we go back to the browser itself. These are our bookmark options here, and as I mentioned, we'll discuss that at a later date. Some of the difference here between the browsers that you see, Chrome, it's slimmer by just a hair. It's somewhat slimmer, but it's quite faster than Safari will run. But over here on Safari, we get some different options, notably over here on the left-hand corner. Safari provides us with a reading list. So that's essentially articles that we've come across that we want to read later. So I've got an article saved here, the article here from the Atlantic Online. Let's say I was going, I was kind of surfing the web during the day, and in the evenings, you like to just kind of kick back with with some water, some tea, or dessert, and read a few articles online. Or maybe you're in bed, you just kind of want to wind down a little bit for the evening. Well, in that case, you can go to several articles that you have saved online here in the reading list. So that's something that we'll see also in more modern browsers. So that's essentially just clippings for particular articles. The bookmarks are more for sites that you have, main sites. These refer to specific articles within the site. So I'm going to close that out for now. And also I have just a bookmark manager, so I can manage my history, which is something we'll discuss at a future topic. And I can also manage my bookmark menu and the bar that you see up here at the top. So these folders are represented by the bar up here at the top. I can also click here and expand, get a few more options here that's not fitting in my window because it's a little bit smaller. Deselect that. Cloud options, something we looked at earlier. And then this is a share button. So anytime I actually want to share, let's say I wanted to share this article, I can just click on the share button and I can post that, say, to my Facebook or a Twitter account, or email this page to, say, a fellow coworker or a friend or something of that sort. And that will launch the necessarily client and be able to do that very quickly within inside the browser. I can also text that or message it to somebody. So you can see Safari has a couple of different options that are located automatically in the browser that you don't necessarily see in Google Chrome, because Google Chrome is a little bit slimmer. So you see that difference there in the browser. The goal of Chrome is to run very, very fast and give you as much real estate for the web page as possible. But in some cases, you want a little extra tools. You know, you surf the web and you maybe have an active blog or a Facebook account, Twitter account that you want to post a lot of different articles to. Something like that might be useful for you. You can also download extensions for the browsers that you have that allow you to do certain items like that you see in Safari. But each one's going to be integrated a little bit different into each browser. But we will go ahead and ignore those and kind of move on now, and we can see different tabs that are loaded. And essentially, that's what you have. And that top section of the browser gives you all the tools that you need to navigate back and forth between different web pages that you have. As I mentioned, you can install other browsers available, Internet Explorer, Microsoft.com, and you can also download Mozilla Firefox at mozilla.com. For now, that's going to conclude our lesson in utilizing the browser fundamentals.